Good morning, everyone. It's Ronnie here. I want to let you know about a couple of things before I get started in this video. Firstly, the Love Fruit conference today is the last day if you want to get a ticket. You can go to the link below. You can go to fruitfest.co.uk and there'll be a link there in the front page. You can go to bit.ly/fruitcon 2021. I'll put links below. And we'd love to see you there. And this is it's probably a once off. I'm not sure if we'll try and do it again. We might do something similar. We might do something, but it might be uh, open to just people from the festival or whatever. It depends. It depends how things work out. But for those that are coming, we're gonna have a really good time. Looking forward to seeing you all. And yeah, we're starts. It's gonna happen tomorrow. So get your ticket right now if you're gonna go and if you're definitely coming. Um, this video is about what sometimes like basically uh, I get comments and things, and I think that sometimes you'll see me answer people in comments or answer people in videos, and you might think that I'm being a bit harsh or I'm being a bit skeptical or whatever. And the reason for that is that people will claim certain things that they did or have done, especially around this diet, and then say the diet didn't work for them. And they always blame the diet, they always blame the food. These are people that can't and haven't got to a point in their life of maturity of saying, actually, it was my fault. It was my fault. There can't be all these people who are able to do this diet, who are able to do it easily and with no problem, and it not be something possible to do. It's possible to do, but a lot of people can't get over their addictions. A lot of people can't get over their bad habits. Um, a lot of people just don't have, they maybe weren't doing it really for themselves. They maybe just did it for some kind of trend, or they saw other people were doing it, or it was like a short-term thing for them, or whatever. They were looking for some magical experience, spiritual enlightenment, whatever it was they were looking for. Um, but having done this for 10 years, having been very intensely interested in this community, ran a lot of events, the festivals, been involved in other festivals, attending other events, meeting thousands of people, meeting leaders, meeting beginners, you start to gradually gather a good sense of people and the way people do this and the mistakes people make and the people that are successful at it, what they do. You get a kind of a good idea and you become a good guide for others, and you can help others. And then if you start to help others and coach people and things like that, then when you start to do that, you also see the mistakes that people make in the mindset and the wrong way of thinking or the wrong way of doing it, and you see all these things that happen. So when someone comes along and says, I did this and it didn't work for me, I can often get a good sense of whether they actually did that or not. And you might say, but how can you know that? And it's really just through experience. It's really just through experience. So when someone jumps on and says, well, I did this, like a classic example is anyone that says, I did 80-10-10 perfectly for however many years, it didn't work for me, my health failed me, blah, blah, blah. Well, the idea of doing 80-10-10 perfectly for that many years, and it's a person that I've never heard of. I've never seen them around Doug Graham. I've never seen them anywhere online, any forum, anything. Never seen them at any event. Never heard about them, but they did it perfectly for 3 or 4 years. Speak to other people I know, speak to others. It's a small knit community, really. So when people claim these things, you're just like, well, there's a good chance they didn't do that. There's a good chance they didn't do that. And then the idea they did it perfectly, it's almost like they're saying, well, it's nothing to do with me, I did it perfectly. Well, what does that even mean? What does perfect mean? I knew one person that told me that 80-10-10 was coffee, alcohol, no animal products, as long as it was kept low fat. Their version of 80-10-10 was seemed to be just about the ratio, not about the diet. So they were saying I did 8 to 10. They probably, it's unlikely they even kept it low fat, because it's hard to do so with animal products in your diet. But that was their idea. And so I've been skeptical over the years when people have come to me and saying this raw diet doesn't work. And then I see them the next day eating cooked food or something, and it's like, of course it's not going to work for you if you're eating cooked food all the time. And people putting on loads of weight, and you're thinking, well, they can't be doing, they're not doing 8 to 10, 10 perfectly. And a lot of people say, well, how do you know that? Because of like the basic physiology of the human body, like, and how people actually treat fruits and vegetables. Like, people don't binge on fruits and vegetables and overeat them. And there'll probably be someone in the comment going, I couldn't stop eating bananas, I had 3 in a day, like just completely, silly comments. And it all comes down from this thing of like not wanting to accept responsibility. So a guy the other day was saying to me, I did a water fast with Loren Lockman and I followed his advice for 4 years. So immediate red flags for me, because I've been in this raw vegan movement, as I say, 10 years, went to an event, met Loren, got no problem with Loren really, and hopefully try and interview him soon. But I've really not seen anyone follow Loren Lockman's advice for 3 or 4 years. Now, you might say, like, well, how can that be? And I'm not saying all of his advice, like, he's got a lot of good advice, but his recommendation on diet was kind of like, eat as much as you feel, and if that's 900 calories, then that's what your body wants or needs. And that's, to me, that's like really bad advice. And I've never seen anyone follow that. I've never seen anyone successfully do a raw vegan diet for any length of time, over a month or a few weeks or whatever, follow that kind of advice. That's why people have always failed on raw diets historically. That's why. Because they were just chronically under eating all the time. Now, if you were forced to just have fruits and vegetables and that's all you had available to you, you would eventually learn to eat enough. You would eventually, but what people generally do is they just go back to eating cooked food because it's an easier option. It's another option right there. So if you're losing weight and you're not feeling good and you're tired and all that, and there's all this other food that looks good, then you're going to go and do that. But in the modern world, like, no one is following that advice. I don't meet anyone who's like, oh yeah, I'm a student of Loren Lockman, I've been following his advice for 4 years. I've never met anyone who's doing that. I've not even met anyone who's like, I'm a Robert Morse person and I follow him 100% for 4 years. Because his advice for a raw vegan diet doesn't work. Like, he doesn't have advice for a raw vegan diet. He recommends people eat fruit and kind of heal and detox, but he doesn't have the information of it as a lifestyle because he doesn't practice it as a lifestyle. He suggests it to others as a healing practice. Whether he eats any fruit at all is who knows? It's a mystery. So he can't teach people about it, but he can teach people about spirituality and magical ideas and, oh, when I ate fruit, I went out of my body and it was just too high and I was too highly energized and I had to come back with the cooked foods. It's like, well, that's not the experience of anyone I know that's doing a fruit diet or who's done a fruitarian diet. I did 4 months on mangoes. I didn't go out of my body once, but then again, I've not got a history of taking LSD and magic mushrooms and all the drugs that people were taking back in the 60s when he was growing up. I wasn't having crazy flashbacks and things. Which I'd actually asked him about when I was at his talk. So, you never see people following that advice long term and being 100% raw because it's never enough. calories. The calorie thing is not something you can get around. If you just try and follow your intuition of what to eat, if you're going from cooked food, which is you've been eating cooked food for 25 years, 20, 30 years, 40 years. And what's happened is that your way of eating food is to follow your compulsion, to follow your addiction, to follow the pain and uncomfort in your body. And if you go towards raw food, there's no addiction, there's no compulsion, and there's no pain in your body anymore. There's no hunger pains. And you end up eating less. Because all you're used to is that eating means following compulsion, following addiction, and stuff in your face because you can't help yourself. And you don't get that experience with raw food. You have to change the way you eat. You have to eat consciously. You have to actually choose how much you're going to eat, essentially. You have to choose to eat fruit. You have to make sure you're surrounding yourself with fruit so that there's enough food around for you. You have to make sure it's right for you because it's never going to, you can't go anywhere and there's loads of fruit all over the place. And if you were surrounded by fruit all the time, you would eat more fruit, but people aren't. So people will say to me, how do you know I didn't do that? How do you know I didn't live like that? How did you know? Well, first, it's not possible for you to have lived like that. And it's not scientifically possible. It's very, very unlikely in terms of human behavior. And 100% raw can mean many things. But maybe that's just my perspective on it. I've seen it a lot. I've seen the patterns, I've seen the habits, and it's very unlikely you're going to do anything unique. And if you start off on this raw diet, you're going to undereat. I've never met a person that overate starting off. Never, ever, ever. Never, never. And I've never met a person doing it long term that doesn't learn to eat enough. You have to learn to eat enough. And the only way is increasing your fruit or increasing your fat, and increasing the fat does not really work very well for people. The people that have been on the higher fat diets are the ones that have inconsistent diets, are the ones that are more likely to fall off raw long term, are the ones that are less likely to be very physically active, are the ones that are most likely to do a juice cleanse once in a while and then come back and then try something else and then try something else, then do a juice cleanse and change things around. It's very inconsistent. So if you want to really learn, to me, the teachers I met, Rosalind and Doug Graham, to me, are the fantastic master teachers, really, of the lifestyle. And it's not even what they specialize in, but that's what they're still better than everyone else at it, essentially. And they're not even that almost bothered to speak about it. That it's not like their specialist interest, like place of interest, but teaching people how to do the lifestyle is really important. And they'll be speaking this weekend at the conference. And they don't speak much in a lot of places. In terms of meeting them live, in terms of getting to meet and talk to them and be around them. There's a UK festival, there's occasionally some other festivals, and Doug's got some events. But they're not going all over the place, and they're not at that point in their life anymore where they used to tour around and be at events all over the place and give speeches and things. So, and they don't necessarily, and Rosalind, for example, doesn't really work that much anymore and is sort of semi-retired or whatever. So these are rare chances of getting together with people, of learning, of experiencing about this lifestyle, and I'll put the links below and you can check it out, and I hope to see some of you there. But you might judge me for being skeptical or judgmental of people. I know that it's easier to lie than accept your responsibility. It's easier to say it was my fault. It's easier to say it was the diet's fault than it was my fault. I made a mistake, you know. So thank you for watching. See you in another video, and I'll see you at the weekend.